Batman White Knight presents Von Freeze issue 1 with, I actually didn't know down the credits, but it's Sean Murphy writing for sure.
Klaus Janson on art.
And Klaus Janson on art. Because I read the letter at the back from Murphy saying, he doesn't usually write for other artists, but this was, they sat down and this was meant to be actually taking place in the first book. So think of it as a deleted scene, but it did say it was kind of set thematically between issues like 5 and 6 of this one.
Yeah. Well, I thought he said of the first issue, because you see at the end Batman and Harley picking up something from Freeze.
It definitely said between 2 issues at the end, and he's letter.
Yeah. Hold on.
It said between 6 and 7.
6 and 7. There you go.
Of the first, right?
No, it's just Curse of the White Knight.
Oh damn.
Yeah. So it's something that's coming later. We've not got there yet. So it'll be relevant at some other time. So this is the story of Von Freeze, and it's basically kind of I don't want to say a typical Jew escape sort of run on the run story in Nazi Germany, but it kind of just does that in the context of Mr. Freeze's father was this okay guy at first. He worked with this Jewish partner, and they were making stuff for the betterment of mankind. And then once they had to hide the partner and his family during Nazi Germany, they had to keep getting trickier and trickier, and eventually Baron Freeze decided to join the SS, and because he thought that was best for business, basically.
And it was always like, because this book doesn't not trying to justify it, but it tries to make this character sympathetic in that he's not doing this because he wants to kill all the Jews. He's not joining the SS because of that. He's like, this will make it easier for us to continue our work and do good science.
And from stuff that I've seen, like, it's easy just to go, oh, Nazis bad. But when you think about what was going on in Germany a lot of the time, Hitler didn't invent anti-Semitism. That was already there.
Oh, of course,
he just channeled it. And so you see that here, that even before the Third Reich comes in. Yeah. And then Freeze is even like, and then the Third Reich happened and it got even worse. But, my father sheltered, this is basically his uncle. It was his dad's best friend and whatnot that he was real close with. Yeah. And it kind of does a really good job at showing that, it's not the best laid intentions or the road to hell. I think that's how it goes. Yeah,
because the story's told, Freeze is telling this to Thomas Wayne. This is the birth of Bruce, basically. Martha's, well, not even the birth, but she's having, pain. And they bring her over to Freeze because he's close and they're friends. And it's after they've kind of dealt with Martha, they sit down and they start talking about his dad, and Freeze tells them the whole story, which is where we get, and this is most of the book. Once we get there, is just the story of this friend that his dad screwed over in kind of the worst possible way. So it's just this tragic tale, and how the relationship breaks down, and eventually the guy ends up getting shot. Freeze. Yeah, Freeze.
They're fighting over the gun. Right,
and it's again, even at the end here, he's to the other officers, like, hey, no, they're part of my experiments. I'll just take them back to my house. It's fine. Yeah, and he thinks he's just saving them. Like, I do believe that this guy does think he's doing the right thing.
You get the vibe that he's very cold, for not it's not a pun. That he's a scientist in that way. That there's not a lot of emotion that goes into things, and stuff. So he's just using with reasoning. But the Nazis aren't there to play, They actually believe in the BS, and they're like, well, no, we're going to call your commander, and we're going to get this checked out first.
Yeah, because this is after they've moved to the new lab, because this is a big moment, actually, because they're at their lab in the city, and the family's hiding in the basement of the lab, and then it's like, no, we're going to move to this bigger place, and they sneak everyone there. And when they get there, and the guy's not really happy because he's like, you're wearing colours of the SS, you're doing all these things, and they've killed so many of my people. And they get to the lab, and they're literally using Jewish people as test subjects for their wacky experiments. So naturally, even though they kind of give you Freezes kind of thinking he's doing the right thing, you never once ever blame this guy for his reactions to anything he's seeing or doing.
No.
Absolutely not. No.
Nope.
So it's really stark, and it's basically he's like, no, I'm taking my family out of here. I can't be here with all this evil, and that's where we get this big standoff with the other officers who catch them out in the run in the snow, which leads to his death. And we find out the baby that his wife had, and during all this hiding, is Nora, and young boy Freeze is going to take care of her, which interesting relationship given that he's kind of a big brother to her in a lot of ways. But
and it adds a dynamic that he's always going to keep her safe. So in the Freeze that we know, of course he's going to try to find the cure and whatnot, right? But that's not how this ends, right?
Yeah.
Because
before we go into where it goes in the future, let's just say we see it's what probably and should be the first ever freeze gun blast. Because Baron Freeze, basically because they don't trust him, the other officers, and he just freezes them all, and it's this great 2-page spread that leaves them all just frozen, pointing their guns.
It is like a last resort at this point for this guy, because he's constantly like, no, I outrank you, just do what I say, and he is trying to do this without killing them all.
And I think my favorite part of this, how brutal it is how after he's frozen them all, and they're still actually alive. Yeah, he goes up and shoots them point blank in the face, and they're they're ice cubes basically.
And then you see young Victor kind of in horror watching.
See all this? Yep. He was already fearful of his dad. This only makes it 10 times worse now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he gives him a truck, and they sort of escape.
Get the family out, and they immigrate to France, where Le Resistance wants to kill the Baron.
Yeah, I kind of predicted that the baby was going to be Nora, but they actually kind of hold it back until this bit at the end when it comes back to not present day, but present day for the in the context of him telling the story to Thomas Wayne. And she says her name, Nora. So, and then the final bit at the end is it sets up this watch on this locket, and Freeze in present day gives that to Batman. This will be the bit that takes place between issue 6 and 7, I presume, when we get there. And Harley's waiting in the Batmobile for him. So, and he seems to be good friends with him. And Nora's there doing stuff.
Yeah.
Working on things.
So he never becomes Mr. Freeze. He's just Victor Freeze. Who created the cold gun, and so I think that's a cool twist from from Murphy. That's there, and that it adds to this whole his whole family history and whatnot, and how the U.S. took the Nazi technology through the military, and then reused it for the space program and whatnot. Like, there's a commentary on that here, and then the art's nice and moody throughout from Jansen.
Yeah, they are okay. I think it suffers because I'm so used to this book with Murphy art that it inherently just has a different look and feels a bit weird because of it.
I thought it was a nice interlude for it.
Yeah, I get that. No, I've been a fan of Jansen on other projects in the past, so I was already kind of prepared for what this was going to look like and how it is quite different from so it's a lot cleaner, a lot bolder and stockier.
Now, obviously, this is coming when it is because this is when Murphy needs the break, but it would have made more sense to be a couple issues later, a couple of months later.
Yeah,
it would have, but this is, so schedules align. I get it.
Yeah, but it was pretty solid for what it was.
I liked it.
Nice dark tale. You could feel the emotion in the page. What are you giving it, Matt?
Oh yeah, that's an 8.5. I really liked
it. Straight 8 from me.
Yeah, I'll give it a straight 8. Really solid. I was missing Murphy on the art though. I will say that.